service or visit them online spmhire.com or find them on Instagram.
Looking for meat and groceries? Look no further than Waris Food Store in Walthamstow. Visit the store to view our special Ramadan offers. 420 Hull Street, Walthamstow, E17 9AA. Or for free delivery, call us on 0208 521 0000. We have fresh deliveries of poultry and vegetables every day. Waris Food Store in Walthamstow.
Reliant Solicitors fight to protect your legal rights. Our firm offers a wide range of services including immigration, family law, commercial law, civil litigation, personal injury, landlord and tenant disputes and employment law. Visit us at 602A High Road, 7 Kings, Ilford, IG3 8BU or call 0207 183 5439. Reliant Solicitors, where every client matters.
Britain Solicitors in East Ham, the name you can trust. We provide services in immigration, family law, landlord and tenant matters, commercial leases and civil litigation. We also deal in personal injury claims and road traffic accidents. Call us on 0203 475 7845 or visit us at 62 Barking Road, East Ham, E6 3BP.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening to Ramadan FM 2018. This is Big Talk with me, your host for the next hour, Zahid Iqbal. And with me, I'd like to welcome a very special guest, Member of Parliament for East Ham, Stephen Timms. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. So, how's your day been so far?
It's been a fairly busy day. I've been meeting people in the constituency over various issues. And a quieter day tomorrow to look forward to. A beautiful day, of course.
So you haven't had time to watch the royal wedding today?
I've caught the odd glimpse of that, but that's about it. All seems to have gone all right, I think.
Yes. Are you a bit of a Republican, or are you a staunch royalist?
I don't have any great objection to the existence of the royal family. I mean, I don't take an enormous amount of interest in what they do, but I think the Queen has done a reasonable job over the last 66 years or whatever it is, and I don't think we should get into the massive upheaval that would be involved in abolishing the monarchy and trying to replace it with something else.
Yeah, but of course, I mean, with Meghan Markle, I mean, they seem to be now maybe adapting to the times, perhaps.
I think that's true. I think of course, she's not the first American to have married into the royal family, but she is, I guess, the first mixed race member. And I think that is a positive new dimension that perhaps other bits of British society could learn from.
Absolutely. So we've got a great show lined up for you today. We've got lots of things to discuss. Lots of things been happening over the last few months. Indeed, actually, you were here. I think you were here almost exactly 2 years ago. I remember you sat right opposite me the day after the Brexit result, the referendum, and I think it was quite fair to say you were in a bit of shock.
I think I was. Yeah.
At the result.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about Brexit, immigration, and Palestine. The Brexit, we're 2 years on from the referendum, and it seems to me that we're not getting anywhere in terms of the government. I mean, there's so many things that remain to be resolved. Our trading relationship with Europe, our customs relationship with Europe, and it all. Do you think we're heading for a hard Brexit? Do you think something?
Well,
do you think we will get a deal?
We're heading into a mess, and as you say, 2 years on from the referendum, very little has been resolved. I'm a member of the Select Committee for exiting the European Union. We're the committee in Parliament that shadows what the Department for Exiting the European Union does. David Davis, the Secretary of State. This week we were in The Hague talking to Dutch ministers and parliamentarians about their view. We've been to Germany, we've met Michel Barnier in Brussels. And one of the things that strikes me about it is that right at the start of this, the European Union set out a very clear view about what they were interested in providing. And the British government just hasn't got its act together. It still hasn't decided. The cabinet hasn't decided what they want. And that, I think, puts us in a very difficult position indeed. We do not know what kind of customs arrangement the cabinet is going to ask for from Brussels. Now, the whole deal is supposed to be finished by October. And it's very hard to see, frankly, how they can get anything very sensible out of it. There is a suggestion that you might have seen in the last couple of days that the Cabinet is going to agree that we should stay in the customs union for longer than the period that's been agreed up till now, which is the end of 2020. The Labour Party policy, which I support, is that we should stay in the customs union permanently. And if the government is sort of shifting a little bit in that direction, that is a welcome. And frankly, it's just a reflection of the reality. They cannot achieve what we all know needs to be achieved if we're outside the customs union. Yeah. And the other big issue, of course, is membership of the single market. And I do sense in Westminster there is a growing view that really our economic interest requires us to be in both the customs union and the single market, to be in the European Economic Area.
You're saying that, Mr. Timms, because you've clearly said that just now that you feel that our future lies in the customs union as well as the single market. But it seems to me, and a lot of people have been saying this, that Labour haven't really been very clear on what they want. And, you know, do you think that's a fair criticism? Or has Labour been basically kind of hedging its bets because of its, essentially wanting to attract those Brexiteers in the north, in some very, very traditional Labour seats, and so it can't be seen to be fully supporting the notion of staying in the customs union or the single market. But at the same time, it's making an argument to say, well, economically, it will be in our interest to stay there. But you've quite clearly said that we should be.
We've been clearer than the Conservative Party. We've been clearer than the government. So we've said we want to stay in the customs union, period. That is the policy of our party, and I welcome that. It wasn't the policy immediately after the referendum. It's become our policy, thanks, I think, to the work of Keir Starmer, just reflecting on the realities of the position that we find ourselves in.
But I think the argument is that that's not what the British public voted for in the referendum when they voted in the referendum.
They voted to leave the European Union. That's all. They didn't. They didn't vote for how we should leave the European Union or what form of relationship we should have, because that wasn't on the ballot paper. That's now for Parliament to. But
it was in the Conservative manifesto, as I understand it.
And the Conservatives didn't get a majority in the election. So, it's now for Parliament to determine what should happen. And you've got close connections with Ford Motor Company. I mean, the car industry is a particularly clear example. We've done really well making cars in Britain in the last few years, but they are very dependent on just-in-time supply of components and parts from all over Europe coming to the UK, and parts coming from the UK into the EU 27, and indeed whole cars being exported. Now, if we get into some sort of complicated arrangement of customs checks and duties and red tape, that is going to be terribly damaging to employment in the UK, above all in the car industry. But there are other examples where the same is true. So it's that kind of logic, just thinking about the realities of how people make a living in Britain and how we're going to have to make a living in the future, that I think shows very clearly we cannot afford to be outside the customs union.
But being in the customs union, does that then not limit our reach in terms of trading with countries and blocks outside the
It means
European
we can't
Union?
make our own trade deals with other countries. That is true. And Liam Fox has been appointed the Secretary of State for trade deals, and he's very keen on going around the world making these trade deals. I think the reality is we're not going to be able to do it. And now the government is kind of, it seems, accepting we're not going to be able to do it, at least for a while.
We are actually effectively, we are then still in the European Union in all but name.
Well,
the
position that we could end up with is being in the European Economic Area, like Norway, and also in the Customs Union. Now, if you look at the position that Norway is in, Norway is not part of the Common Agricultural Policy. Norway is not part of the Common Fisheries Policy. There are various emergency breaks available for migration. So it's not. It does not involve being fully in the European Union. It does involve being pretty closely aligned with the European Union. And I think, frankly, as you know, I was against leaving the EU, but having decided to leave the EU, I think that is the best possible outcome that we can.
So you're not really in favour of a second referendum? Is that something you would like to see? Would you support?
I think there is quite a strong case for a second referendum. I supported a 10-minute rule bill that's been promoted recently by my colleague Gareth Thomas, Labour MP from Harrow, because I think people do need to have a say once they know what the deal that's been agreed is, whether this is what they want or whether they prefer to leave things as they are. So I think the case for that is a pretty compelling one.
Supporters of Brexit would say, well, the British public have made up their mind, and now, if we now have a second referendum, it's just basically saying, well, it's getting another referendum until we get the right answer.
Well, we're going to get a deal. We hope. I hope we're going to get a deal. I mean, it would be pretty disastrous if we don't get a deal. And the deal will explain what our future relationship with the European Union will be. I think it is entirely reasonable that, having finally got the detail of what this is going to look like, people should have the chance to say whether this is what they want or not. We had the referendum, and by a small margin, we decided yes, we were going to leave the EU. Fair enough. Once we know the detail, we can say, is this what we actually want?
Are you concerned about the impact that Brexit would have on, say, Newham, which is, I suppose, in socioeconomic terms, relatively deprived? Is leaving the European Union perhaps going to disproportionately affect poorer people? I mean, what sort of impact do you see Brexit having on the residents of Newham, for example, or East Ham, where you're the MP?
My worry is, and the example about Ford Motor Company illustrates that, my worry is we're going to lose a lot of jobs in the UK if this is done badly. If we leave the customs union, if we leave the single market, there's a real danger for jobs in the UK, including a lot of jobs held by people in Newham. I'm not sure that Newham is going to be any worse hit than anywhere else. I think the damage will be pretty uniform across the country. I haven't seen any analysis of where the differential impacts will be, but of course a lot of people in Newham do work in financial companies in the city, in Canary Wharf, not necessarily in the most highly paid jobs, although some people in Newham are in those, but in all sorts of ordinary jobs in those places. And if the financial services sector takes a hit, which it could very well do if we get Brexit wrong, then obviously those jobs in Newham, held by Newham people, will be badly affected. But the same applies for jobs all over the country.
You're listening to Ramadan FM 2018. Your host, Iqbal, and Emma. After the break, we'll be talking about other matters, particularly knife crime. And I also, in respect to that, want to talk to Stephen Timms, because he was actually, if many of you will know, a victim of knife crime, a lone wolf terrorist attack. So join us after the break. If you want to give us a call, tell us your views. The number is 0333 011 6786, or you can tweet on Ramadan FM 2018. Join us after the break.
All your favourite flavours. We're based at 400 Cranbrook Road in Gants Hill, so come down to dine in or order in on Uber Eats or Just Eat. Amigos, hats off to great burgers.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Hey, तैनू 20 बारी आके आता क्रिकेट ना खेलिया कर तो फिर विंडो पंच हो रही है.
Don't worry, Dad. Our windows need changing anyway.
हाँ तो पैसे तू दे से ना.
Nah, don't worry, Dad. UK Windows will sort it out.
UK window? Oh, Conan.
They're the best double glazing company about. They do windows, patios, French doors, sliding doors, UPVC, aluminium, you name it, they've got it. We can go see them at 51 to 53 Upton Lane, Forest Gate, E79PA, or call them at 07984 440 093 or visit ukwindowslondon.co.uk.
वाह जी वाह, ये तो कमाल है यार. UK Windows.
Zindabad!
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximise the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
With over 25 years experience in the East London area, there's no better firm to rely on than Cameron Adams Century 21 when it comes to properties. Be it lettings, property management or sales, we can assist you to ensure you get the most out of your property. Contact us on 0208 558 2000 for a free, no obligation valuation and watch us do what we do best.
Grab your taste of luxury at Pink's Boutique. Designer brands like Hugo Boss and Armani to keep your style in check. Catering for ladies, men and kids, Pink's Boutique has it all under one roof. And we offer shipping worldwide, so get the look to fit your attitude. Visit us on our website at pinksboutique.co.uk. Remember, that's pnksboutique.co.uk. Or pop into our store at 302 Brentwood Road, Romford, RM2 5TA.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
European University of Business now offering BA Business Management, MBA with specialisation. Our courses are regulated by UK Quality Assurance Agency and taught in a highly professional environment. Special offer for Ramadan FM 2018 listeners only. Please call on 0203 288 3143. Email info@universityofbusiness.eu.
Solicitors in. You can expect a variety of services from us, ranging from family law, immigration, human rights, money claims, personal injury and many more. We are committed to providing you with the best legal advice suited to your individual circumstances. Drop us a call on 0203 500 8000. Our office is located at 62 Barking Road, East Ham, E6 3BP.
Why spend summer in your room when you can fly off to your dream destination with facilities like car hire and hotel bookings? Well, Flight Masters have got you covered. We offer holiday packages, city breaks and flights at the most reasonable prices with the best provision of services. So why delay? Call us today on 0203 598 9938 or visit our website at www.flightmasters.com.
Do you dream of travelling to those blessed lands where the beloved of Allah was born? Does your heart yearn for Medina, the city of the beloved? If it is your time to experience a spiritual journey words cannot justify, then join us at Sam Travel and Tours and book your Hajj and Umrah packages today. We offer group and tailor-made packages for all your requirements. Based on Romford Road in London, for our last 10 days Umrah package, please call us on 0208 478 8911.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. You're listening to Ramadan FM 2018. This is Big Talk with me, your host Zahid Iqbal, and I'm here with our special guest, the Right Honourable Stephen Timms, MP for East Ham. I welcome him, and we've been discussing Brexit in the last 20 minutes or so, and I'm so glad we've got him today because we can cover quite a few things, quite a few current affairs. Now, something that's going to be really concerning to people who live in London and Newham in particular is the issue of knife crime, which sadly has affected quite a few young people in particular who've been victims of stabbings. We had, for example, the murder of Sami Sidham in Forest Gate not very long ago, and there does appear to be a surge in knife crime and violent crime in particular in London, which is really, really concerning. And I think especially for young people who want to go about their own business, and parents who might be worried about their children. And I just want to get your views on this and what we should be doing as a society or as government to try and tackle this. But I also am aware that you were a victim yourself of a knife attack, and as we mentioned before the break, it wasn't gang related, it wasn't a member of a gang, but it was somebody who was inspired by an extremist Islamic preacher, a woman who I think came to you to one of your surgeries and actually stabbed you, which obviously was very, very traumatic for you. And I think you were quite lucky you're quite lucky to be still here with us today. So you actually have some personal insight into this, into how devastating an attack like this can be. I mean, how did it actually feel? I mean, obviously,
physically?
Yes,
it felt as though I'd just been punched in the stomach. It was a strange experience. Obviously, I haven't had anything like that happen to me before, and immediately afterwards, I wasn't exactly sure whether I had been stabbed or not. I could tell that's what she'd tried to do. I just felt as though I'd been punched. So I lifted up my jumper and discovered there was a lot of blood there. So then I realised, oh yes, I have been stabbed. And fortunately, there were first aiders on the scene. Paramedics turned up very quickly. I was taken off to the London hospital and patched up. It was a life-threatening injury, but the surgeon who looked after me told the court hearing, subsequently the trial, that it was life-threatening but not imminently life-threatening, so he had the time to repair things, and I was okay.
But even physically, your injuries may have been treated and successfully treated, but what about psychologically? I mean, that must be quite a hard thing to go through.
Yes.
Very, very difficult.
It was a grim experience. I mean, I'm not aware of kind of lasting ill effects, but I mean, I suppose you might want to ask my wife about that, whether she feels there's been any change in me. It's 8 years ago now, so it's quite a long time ago. Certainly when I got back to my surgery afterwards, a few weeks once I'd made a bit of a recovery, I was, as you can imagine, pretty nervous about the first one, but nothing has happened in the 8 years since then, so it just feels like routine again. Now we've reorganised things a bit in the surgery to hopefully improve safety, but otherwise, surgeries have continued as before.
But I mean, this may sound like a crass question, but it was a Muslim woman or young lady who stabbed you, but you're obviously in a ward or an MP of an area which I think has a large Muslim population. I mean, how does that feel? I mean, does it make a difference to your perception of Islam? I mean, you and Muslims in general, and your dealings with Muslims on a day-to-day basis.
A very fair question. She was a Muslim young woman, a student, who attacked me. After it happened, I was inundated with messages, texts, cards, letters, emails, many of them from Muslims. A lot from Christians as well, and actually a lot of them said, we are praying for you for a speedy recovery. A lot of Muslims told me that after that attack. So on balance, I think my feeling about the Muslim community in my constituency became more positive through that experience. Okay, there was one person who did something terrible, but there were lots of others who were, as I sensed it, were mortified that somebody should do such a thing in the name of what they believed. And they made their views very clear. So I felt actually after that experience very affirmed and supported by the community as a whole, even though one person had done something very bad.
Sure, and that was a knife incident, a stabbing caused by extremism, which is obviously a big topic in itself, and we may have time hopefully another time when we can discuss extremism. But moving on to the recent spate of knife crimes that even President Trump has noticed and made comments on, and compared Britain or London to a war zone, which is probably overhyping it a little bit. But at the same time, it is of concern. I mean, what do we do? I mean, how should society deal with this?
Well, I think that the two things I would say on this, one is we've got to make sure we've got the laws right. Now, I think on knife crime, we probably have got the laws about right. One of the areas that I've been worried about is acid attacks, because we had a big spurt in acid attacks a year ago. And I'm pleased now that the government has agreed to suggestions I made for how the law should be changed over acid. You might remember there was a horrible incident in Beckton about a year ago.
Yeah.
Two cousins sitting in a car, somebody leant through the window and threw acid over them. And after that, there was a real surge of anxiety in our area about acid, and whether there were people just wandering around the streets waiting to throw acid over people. That required, in my view, changes to the law. The government has now agreed to introduce them. They haven't yet introduced them, but I'm hoping they will do soon. And I'm pleased that we haven't seen a repeat of that particular kind of episode in the borough over the last year, or certainly not to the same extent. On knives, though, the big problem we have is there are not enough police officers now. There have been big cuts in the number of police officers on the streets. Theresa May, who was responsible for those cuts, often says to us, well, you can't say there's necessarily a link between the number of police officers and the amount of crime. I'm afraid, though, that is what we are now seeing, that crime is going up, violent crime is going up, and the police simply haven't got the wherewithal any longer to respond in the way that they have been able to in the past.
How would increasing the number of police officers actually make a difference to
in the past we have had surges of knife crime in the past like this, and the police have been able to get on top of it. They make themselves very, very visible. They stick up knife arches in various places and make people go through them, so that if you've got a knife, they find out. They are around the schools and the colleges. There are things that the police have been able to do in the past which has brought this under control, and the surge has stopped. And my impression is they just haven't got the resources any longer to do that. They're very thinly stretched. Indeed, I think Cressida Dick, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, has just in the last couple of days made the point that cuts have led to an increase in crime. And to be able to get on top of it in the way that the police have done in the past, I think they need more officers than they've got now.
I think there is a recruitment exercise, though, isn't there? I think Cressida Dick mentioned that she would be... I'm glad
about it. I mean, she needs more resources. She's got to be able to pay the wages of people they recruit. If they are recruiting, that's good. But of course, that all takes time. You've got to train people. It's gone too far. The cuts have gone too far.
But the other thing that springs from this is the issue of stop and search. I mean, it's something that has been a controversial tactic used by the police, as you well know, where black communities in particular, African Caribbean men usually feel that they are targeted unfairly. Yet, other people would say, well, it's something that is effective. And what's your view on that?
I think it does have to be part of the police's response. They've got to do it sensitively. They can't just go around and stop people because of the colour of their skin. But where there are grounds for them to worry, I think they should be doing it. And that is the view of a very large number of people in Newham who I've discussed this with over the last few months.
Is that the view of your black and African Caribbean or BAME residents
It's
as well?
It's certainly the view of BME residents and BME Labour Party members who recognise that we can't carry on like this. We need to get this under control, and it's not been over the last few months.
But that's something that politicians can do. They can maybe increase resources. They can ask, advise. Oh, we've got a call here. Let's just take this. Hello.
Oh, hi there. I'm just ringing the radio station.
Yes, go ahead. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Shahid Mahmood.
Shahid Mahmood, fire away. What's your? Do you have a question or comment you would like to make?
No, it's just basically probably a question as well. You still got Stephen Timms with you, I
Yes,
think.
he's here.
Hello, Shahid.
Okay, and the question, first of all, I want to wish Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Also, congratulations for those people who are really interested in today's wedding, of the royal wedding.
Did you watch the royal wedding? Are you a royalist, Shahid?
Well, I sort of saw it in passing. My daughter watched it, and other people have watched it. So I saw it in passing, and so obviously we wish the new bride and groom all the best.
Indeed. So, do you have a question you would like to ask?
Yeah, the question was about knife crime, which you just talked about a few minutes ago. I just wanted to find out Stephen's views with regard to how we actually deal with this. I know in Scotland, for example, they're looking at this as a situation with regard to maybe some things like, maybe a mental imbalance or mental disability or something. They can actually sit down with the person and actually deal with it as a health problem rather than a problem with regard to just saying, oh, it's a knife crime. So they're actually looking at the people who perpetrate this as people who have mental health issues and then actually taking it from that level. So I don't know if Stephen is aware of what's happening, particularly in Scotland, and sees, and I just wanted his views whether we could actually replicate what they're doing. But apparently it's very, very successful in Scotland.
Well, thank you, Shahid. And let me echo your Ramadan greetings to everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. I haven't said that so far today, and thank you for doing so. I haven't looked in detail at the Scottish experience. It reminds me in a way of what Tony Blair said years ago, that what the government needs to do is to be tough on crime and tough on the causes of crime. And I think both of those things have to be part of our response. We need to stop people who might commit these attacks before they do so. And I'm sure you're right that in some cases there's a mental health problem, and there needs to be a decent mental health service to support people who need that help. I think we need more police officers, as I was saying just before you rang. I think that we do need to persuade people that if they commit crimes of this kind, they will be caught and they will be punished. One thing we haven't said very much so far is that there is a serious gang issue here. We've got a lot of gangs at the moment in Newham. We didn't used to have that on the scale that we now have. That's part of the problem we're facing at the moment. And again, the police need the resources to get on top of that. But I do agree that there are health issues. I think, frankly, we need more youth activities locally, so there are positive things for people to be doing. That's been very drastically cut back because of the effects of austerity over the last few years. There's a lot that needs to be doing, and the health service is part of it.
Shahid, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Stephen's absolutely right. But I also think that, we one of the good names of this of the radio program is a community radio, and community identifies that it probably needs all the communities and all the various people with the various skills to come together to tackle issues such as this. This is not only the issue, but it's a very pressing issue, as we understand. I was speaking to a gentleman called Raheel Butt, who was actually part of a gang. And I know he plays a very, very active part in actually dealing with these type of issues, and actually trying to talk to the people who are part of that gang culture, because I think this is a lot of knife crime stems from that.
What do you think we should be doing about gang culture? I mean, how do we mitigate? I mean, how do we prevent gang culture in the first place? I mean, do you think we should
Well,
ban
I was at a
gang
meeting
music
recently. You mentioned the young boy who was killed in Forest Gate recently, and there was a meeting in Forest Gate last week, and the discussion was basically about communities and community groups coming together to first of all tackling the sort of the grassroots issues, why these sort of things happen, but also to ensure that we as a community will not tolerate having people commit these sort of offences, and that goes through not only just knife crime but all other types of offences as well, because unless the community come together and actually say, if someone dies within our community, it's actually a sad death amongst us all. That person is part of our community, and we have to come together to actually tackle it. Without that happening, I don't think we can actually achieve anything.
I think that's right. I think a strong community can be a really powerful response to help us respond really effectively to problems like this. And actually, I think in Newnham we do have quite a strong community, and certainly Minhaj ul-Quran has played a very positive role over the years in bringing different people, Muslims and others, together. And I think that's an important part of the response, building up our community so that we can kind of look after one another.
Thank you. Shahid, do you have anything else to say?
No, I would just sort of reiterate something I said about the community. Now, we've got a fantastic platform here with Dr. Guy today presenting this fantastic program. But a fantastic platform, which I haven't seen before, for people to come together, all those community groups to come together. And let's see if we can forge something together to deal with knife crime, but also all the other issues that are very, very important and that we have to deal with.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your contribution, Shahid. And if anyone else wants to call in, the number is 0333 011 6786. Thank you. So, Mr. Timms, going on to gang culture again. I mean, there's been some thinking about gang music. There's I don't know what it's called now. There's a particular type of gang music which glorifies violence that is out there on the internet, and it's something that is thought to be linked, or at least encouraging or inciting gang members to commit crimes, commit stabbings. In fact, sometimes the lyrics actually go as far as warning other gang members that they are going to be killed at a particular time and a particular place, sometimes in coded language and so on. I don't know whether you've had a chance to ever hear it, but it's something that is again cited as a factor. Is that something that you feel should be banned, or?
Well, I haven't had the chance to listen to it. I think the chances of stopping people putting things on the internet is fairly slim. I don't think I'd want to invest too much effort in that. I'd want to invest much more effort in catching the people who are doing these things. Now, if there are people who are threatening other people online and they can be caught, then that in itself, they've committed a crime. They should be punished and stopped. I had a conversation yesterday with one of my constituents, a mother whose 14-year-old child got caught up in this stuff and was trapped into what's known as county lines, where children are being sent all over the country to take
peddle drugs. Yes.
And this lad was taken to Exeter by the gang, left in a park, told to hand a package to somebody who would come up and say hello to him. He did that, but it turned out the person he gave it to was actually an undercover police officer, so he was caught and arrested, and the gang never got their money, which means he's now in some danger because he hasn't given them the cash they were after. I mean, this is a dreadful development, and I can't see any effective response to it other than significantly increased police resources to find the people who are doing it, to catch them, to punish them, to stop them from doing what they are doing.
Thank you. That's very clear. We're going to go on a break. Don't go away. After the break, we'll be discussing immigration and the Windrush affair. We'll be asking questions of our special guest, Stephen Timms, MP.
Destination with facilities like car hire and hotel bookings. Well, Flight Masters have got you covered. We offer holiday packages, city breaks and flights at the most reasonable prices with the best provision of services. So why delay? Call us today on 0203 598 9938 or visit our website at www.flightmasters.com.
Do you dream of traveling to those blessed lands where the beloved of Allah was born? Does your heart yearn for Medina, the city of the beloved? If it is your time to experience a spiritual journey words cannot justify, then join us at Sam Travel and Tours and book your Hajj and Umrah packages today. We offer group and tailor-made packages for all your requirements. Based on Romford Road in London, for our last 10 days Umrah package, please call us on 0208 478 8911.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
MR Accountants provide a full range of accountancy and taxation services, including annual and management accounts, self-assessment, tax returns, VAT, bookkeeping and payroll services to all different types of businesses. With our in-house chartered accountants, you can be guaranteed to save money. Contact us now on 0203 432 9138.
कितनी बार कहा है कि घर को साफ रखा करो। मैं तो थक गई हूँ सफाई कर करके।
उफ, ये कॉकरोच, चूहे, कीड़े मकोड़े घर में घुस आए हैं। कहाँ जाऊँ, किसको बुलाऊं?
माँ, बहन, बीवी और बच्चे, किसी को भी इंसेक्ट्स नहीं लगते हैं ये अच्छे। So don't worry, I'll call City Pest Control. Deal with cockroaches, mice, rats, bed bugs, fleas, flies, all types of insects and rodents. 0203 633 0080 or 0770 279 8808. www.cpestc.com. City Pest Control, large enough to cope, small enough to care. All our technicians are British Pest Control Association qualified and we are regulated by the Royal Society of Public Health.
This Ramadan, visit Al Akbar's for all your meat and poultry needs. We buy only the highest quality meat and are HMC registered. We've got some amazing offers on all our products this Ramadan and we provide free local delivery for all our customers. We also cater for restaurants and large events, so no matter how big or small your order is, Al Akbar's is the name to remember. Visit us now at 51 to 53 Upton Lane, Forest Gate, E7 9PA or call us at 0208 472 5742. Al Akbar's, the name to remember.
Yo, bro! Cuzzy's getting married and I need to get hold of a car.
Yar, I know some boys who know SPM car hire. They got the best cars in town. Rolls Royces, Ranges, Maseratis, Aston Martins. Cause you name it, they got it with the best prices in town.
Sorted! Looks like I'm going to this wedding in a Range then.
They'll drop off the car and pick you up once you're done. Just give them a ring on 01798 397 916 or visit them online spmhire.com or find them on Instagram.
Assalamu alaikum. You're listening to Ramadan FM 2018 Big Talk with your host Zahid Iqbal and my special guest, the Right Honourable Stephen Timms, MP for East Ham, Labour MP. We've been talking about Brexit, we've talked about knife crime, and we had a text just now because I was talking about music that's put online by gangs which incites people to knife crime potentially anyway, and I've been reliably told that it's called drool music. So thank you very much, Khadija Atkinson, for texting that. We're going to talk about immigration just to finish off in the last few minutes. It's something that's been very topical because of the so-called Windrush affair, and it's something that's actually very kind of personal to me because people may not realize this, but I actually wasn't born in this country. So I was born in Pakistan and I came over with my mother and my parents when I was a year old. Now, thankfully, they managed to get me a British passport, and so I didn't really have some of the problems that the so-called Windrush generation had, or many of them have had, in terms of trying to prove their citizenship of this country, and dozens of them actually being deported. And I'm just thinking, well, that could have been me. I mean, that's just ridiculous. These people who've been here for 50 years or more,
worked,
they've paid their taxes exactly, then paid their national insurance, and quite legally contributed to the economy. And quite frankly, I think it's a national shame that these people have been treated in such a way. Some people have been denied treatment for cancer, or at least one person. This is something that I think it does actually show Britain or some of the Britain in a very bad light, I think.
It does, and I'm afraid it is the consequence of the policies that Theresa May adopted as Home Secretary. She promoted this idea of a hostile environment.
But just to interrupt you there, what was it not something that was started during Labour?
Well, I believe the phrase was used by Liam Byrne,
yes,
who was the Labour immigration minister, but it was all ramped up by Theresa May as Home Secretary. She was the longest serving Home Secretary we've had for many, many decades. And of course, the theory was this would make it a hostile environment for illegal migrants. And I certainly agree that those who are here illegally should be removed, and the migration should be controlled in line with the rules. But the problem is, of course, that if you simply set out to achieve a hostile environment, then it becomes hostile for a lot of other people. The Windrush generation, who are here completely legally, their children, the same. And there's other groups that I've come across a lot in East Ham in the last few weeks, students who were told that they cheated in their English tests when they hadn't, and had their visas cancelled as a result of that. People who were refused to have a visa renewal, allegedly because of difficulties with their tax affairs. But when I've looked into it, it turns out there was just a query from HMRC about their tax matters years ago, which was settled completely to the satisfaction of HMRC at the time. And yet several years later, it's been dredged up by the Home Office,
so they were just
as
using
a pretext for refusing.
Any pretext,
I'm afraid they were. And I agree with you. I think that's a disgraceful way to treat people, and it needs to be put right.
So, we've got a new Home Secretary now, Sajid Javid. I suppose on the one hand, he's the first Asian and the first Muslim in such a prominent ministerial role. I mean, do you think he will be able to put right what's been?
I think there's a chance,
wrong?
At least. We'll have to see. I've raised with him personally in the House of Commons the question of these students who've had their visas cancelled because of allegedly cheating when they didn't cheat on English tests. He promised me he would have a careful look at that issue, and I'm waiting to see what his response is going to be. I think there is at least, clearly from some of the things he's said, he has recognised the scale of this problem. I just hope he's going to go a step further and be willing to put it right.
Do you see that there has been, aside from the hostile environment and the Windrush affair, do you see that there has been a bit of a change in the public conscience about to do with immigration,
I think it's all connected with
increase?
Brexit, isn't it? It's connected with Brexit. There has been a move which I fear the government has kind of whipped up to some degree, reflected in the small vote in favour of Brexit and in the kind of harsh language that Theresa May has used. And I think there is a repair job that's now needed, and I very much applaud what David Lammy's been saying about this in the House of Commons over the last few weeks, others of us have been saying as well, and I hope we can change things. And I think what's helpful about the Windrush scandal is people have now recognised the Home Office has been doing bad things to people that should not have been done. There wasn't a very widespread recognition of that in the past. That has now been recognised, and I hope we can use that to try and put things right.
Sure, and Diane Abbott has made some proposals, as you know, to do with immigration. Now, isn't that the pendulum swinging completely the other way, though? I mean, do you not think that she is becoming, or her proposals are actually too liberal in terms of immigration? And is that something that's perhaps going to alienate again some of Labour's?
A balance needs to be struck, and I think that's the point.
Do you think she's got the right
Diane herself
balance?
Makes. I'm comfortable with the proposals that she's made, but I recognise that there does need to be an immigration system. There do need to be rules that people have to comply with. The Home Office also has to have the resources to implement the rules properly, and I think that's been part of the problem. They just haven't had those in recent years. But once the rules have been set, they need to be fairly as well as strictly applied. And it's the fairness, the kind of human compassion side of things that's been strikingly missing, with tragic consequences, as we found out over the last few weeks.
Indeed. Well, we're coming to the end of the show, I'm afraid. We could have discussed much more, but time is against us, and I want to thank again Stephen Timms. He's a great friend of Minhaj al-Quran and a regular on Ramadan Radio. Thank you very much again, and hopefully we shall see you again
when you've
very,
got your
very
license
soon.
next year.
Congratulations
on that.
Thank you very much. So you're listening to Ramadan FM. Keep tuned for the next program, inshallah. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.